Hi guys, good morning to you. Happy new week. It is Monday, the 8th of February. I'm going to play a quick game with you. It's a little spot the difference. I know some of you love these sort of things. So you need to just have a look at the screen now. And back here we are. Can you spot the difference then? There are 1, 2, 3, 5 differences. Pause the video now. Okay, first one, and the first difference is post-it note. Second difference is a little bit trickier one. There's a blue pen behind my ear. Third difference, I'm wearing a silly hat. Fourth difference, I was wearing glasses. Oh, that's better. And the final difference, well done. I think this was the hardest one. If you spotted, I was wearing a little badge. Okay, so a little bit of fun. 5, spot the differences. Well done if you got them all. Let's see if I can share my screen with you and tell you what we're up to today. So yesterday we started off, we invented our own story. So yesterday, not yesterday, I apologize. On Thursday, we invented our own story, changing the characters. Now, I don't know if you remember, I changed mine to 3 little ducklings, okay, and the evil fox. And the story was Dorothy's 3 little ducklings, because Dorothy was the mother. All right, I'm just going to give you some time, and I'm going to do the same thing to read over what you put for your opening and your build-up. So just read back through your boxing up of your opening and your build-up. Hopefully that's as far as you've got. Okay. So for example, my one was once upon a time there's a duck called Dorothy. She was more than just a duck. She was a magical duck. So you can see what I've done. Okay, I changed my characters to Basil, Barney and Boris. Okay, and they were ducklings. They soon realized they would not be allowed to stay on Farmer Hoggit's farm, blah, blah. Now this was the important bit. So this was in the opening. This was Dorothy's speech. Off you go, my little ducklings, and explore the world. Build yourself somewhere to live. Just make sure the evil fox doesn't catch you. And I was really careful to make sure that I punctuated that speech correctly. Okay, so my opening, my build-up that I did on Thursday. Yeah, that was it. So off they went. First duckling, Basil. So these clues over here, okay, it tells you what to do, what to put in that each paragraph. So these, the new animals go and make their homes. One is very lazy, one is a bit lazy, and one is really good and hardworking. All right, so these, remember, are just notes. I wasn't putting it in full sentences, including lots of information. I was just making notes so that when it does come to my hot task, I can look at these and it will make it really easy. Obviously, the more detail you put in it, the easier your hot task will be. Okay, so we're doing our hot tasks later in the week. All right. So I talked about Barney working a little bit harder, but he was still a little lazy. He built his out of cardboard. However, the third duckling, Boris, worked hard all day and built his hut out of bricks. Okay, it had a fireplace and could withstand even the harshest of winds. So I had a little bit more detail there. I'm starting to change bits, but I don't want to go too far away from the main sort of part of the story. Okay, so the problem. Let's have a think about this. Now, we said the problem is sort of the hardest bit to do because it changes. It changes in terms of the speech. There's lots of speech is going to be between the fox and the ducklings. All right, so this is where I really need to concentrate. This is the hardest bit today. This is the only bit we're doing today, okay? But to be honest, the resolution and the ending, you don't really even need to do today. You can do if you want. So the problem, though, is the bit we need to spend today's English lesson on, all right? Let's try and make it as accurate as possible. I'm going to show you in a second the example that I've started. I've started it, okay? I haven't finished it. So if you want to take some ideas from mine, that's absolutely fine. So we need to make sure, as it says in purple here, that we follow the 4 main rules of speech. Again, okay, on the left-hand side here, all right, it tells us what we need to include. So it says one day the bad character arrives at the first new home. All right, so we're talking about the fox arriving at Basil's house. If I remember from my opening or my build-up, Basil made his out of paper, didn't he? Okay, so let's just read what I put. Okay, the next day, the evil fox happened to pass by the pond where the 3 little ducklings lived. Now, can you see I've changed it? It's not a lane anymore. Okay, I thought, oh, where might ducklings live? Oh, I know, by a pond. Okay, so he saw the paper house and he could smell the duckling inside. So can you see I've kept to the same sort of almost the same theme from the original story. Okay, he thought the bird would make a mighty fine meal and his mouth began to water. So he knocked on the door and said, now I could change that said word if I wanted to and make it more appropriate, but I haven't. Okay, somewhere I could improve it. Now, speech. Have I started a new line for a new character? Yes, I have. Have I used inverted commas to open my speech? Yes. And close it? Yes. Have I started with a capital letter? Hey, yes, I have. And have I ended with a piece of punctuation? Yes, I have. Okay, I'm doing really well. So let's see what Mr. Fox said. Hey, Ducky, it's Mr. Fox. Are you letting me in? Okay. But Basil saw the fox coming and he shouted back. So new speaker. No way, you foolish fox. Then the evil fox barked. I'm going to smash this paper palace to the ground. All right, so there is my speech between the fox and Basil. Okay, Basil the duck. All right, so and again on this, if you're not sure what comes next, this down the left hand side here just tells you what needs to happen. So one day the bad character arrives at the first new home. Okay, then they have some speech together. The first character runs to the next home. Okay, let's see what happened then. So he charged at the paper hut and he knocked it to the ground. Basil quickly waddled off across the pond to Barney's hut. Okay, Barney obviously made his out of cardboard. All right, so then it says again, tells you what to do. The bad character arrives at the second new home. Let's see if I've started the next paragraph. The wolf was angry and he charged across this pond. Okay, and that's as far as I've got. I said he could smell the duckling and he knocked on the door. Okay, he could smell the duckling inside and he thought it would make a mighty fine meal. So he knocked on the door and said, "Oi, duck, I can smell you in there. Let me come in." But Barney saw the fox coming and he yelled back. Okay, and it's going to go on. So you talk about, so you have the conversation between the fox in this instance and your second character, and then finally the third character. All right, so and that's when he gets really cross because he can't knock that building down, that brick hut down. Okay, so I've made a good start. I'm not going to give you as much as I have done previously because I want you guys, this shows us how much you can do independently, okay, and if you need any more support. All right, so I've started it off. I've basically done the first where the fox has met the first character. Obviously, you might not have a fox. Your bad character might be something completely different, but it's just following the same structure as the Three Pigs story. All right, so the problem should take you quite a long time, okay, to make sure that you've got all three conversations. Okay, if you ever get stuck at where you are and what you need to do next, Here Look gives you everything that you need to do. Okay, so start off with the wolf getting to where the characters have built their homes. Start off with the speech, okay, between the bad character and the first sort of duckling. Then the first character runs to the second duckling's home. The bad character gets there. They have a conversation. He runs away. They get to the last home. They have a conversation, and obviously that takes us on to our resolution. Okay, the resolution and the ending, as I said, don't worry about it too much if you don't get around to doing it today. Just concentrate on the problem, because when it comes to writing the story, the resolution and the ending is very, very simple, really. All right, so do we need to make, says, what changes, if any, will you make in the resolution and ending? I don't think there's a huge amount that needs to be changed, okay? I bet the fox was so cross that he leapt onto the roof. What he hadn't realized was that Boris had already made a fire at the bottom. The fox threw himself down the chimney and into the scalding water. The three little ducklings put the lid on, blah, 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 blah. Okay, they all lived happily and ever after, the end. Okay, so the resolution and the ending, as I say, is quite simple. So what I want you to do today is move on to your problem. All right, and I want to concentrate on the fox meeting the first character, how we then do the speech, how they talk to one another, then the fox or the bad character meeting the next character, okay, their speech, and then finally getting to the third home, okay, and then them having speech, all right? Follow the same rules as Babe's Three Little Pigs. If you have any problems, please message, okay? The more detail you put in today, the easier your hot task will be tomorrow when we come to writing it up in neat, okay? Good luck, and I'll speak to you soon.